Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about pinball. Love it or hate it, we're going to be talking about tournament pinball, pinball podcasts, and that whole subculture of extreme pinball nerds. So sit back, relax, and don't get your balls in a bunch. Alright, today we're talking about pinball, and we're mainly talking about Kaneda. Who's Kaneda, you ask? Well, that's a long story. He's this outspoken, sometimes pig-headed individual who often, more times than not, is right about some of things. And he kind of rubs pinball the wrong way, like generally the majority of people that are in pinball. So, just for the record, I love pinball. I've been one of the reasons I got in the business 20 years ago. But pinball today and pinball of yesteryear has not the same. It's been taken over by a new group of people, hipsters, whatever you want to call them, and they have different kind of way of thinking, and nothing wrong with that. Kaneda is this guy who, his name is Chris Colaris. He's from New York. He goes on this site called Pinside and other forum type places, and basically kind of is a little more abrasive. He says things how they are. I'm also like this. I don't like to pussyfoot around stuff. And this is one of the two reasons why I don't frequent Pinside, because people there are a little fragile. They can't take, criticism. They can't take any kind of corrective advice. They don't like opinions that are different than theirs. And they say it's an open forum. They believe in all this, free speech and all that stuff, but it's not. Pinside and pinball in general have, they're kind of hand in hand. It's kind of an addictive site. It's a very well built site. Tilt Forums as well is also very well built, but it is very much a subculture. Most people watching this video probably don't even know it exists. They're like, most people don't even know pinball still exists, to be honest. And it's one of those things that, if you get into something, you find these weird places where people are in their little bubbles. And like, if you're like me, where I have multiple, I'm in my own bigger bubble, but it expands out to arcade, fighting game communities, dance game communities, and all these other places. And in each of these subcultures, you'll see the same sort of things going on. The pinball people are a little more thin-skinned than, say, the fighting game community. They're a little more brazened. If you got those two together, it would be a disaster. So, Kaneda's kind of this guy. He's not stupid. He's pretty well spoken, but sometimes he speaks before he thinks. Sometimes, but love him or hate him, he is what he is, and he is very good at what he does. He has a pinball podcast called Kaneda's Pinball Podcast, and it's kind of a long story, but lo and behold, he got banned from Pinside. Pinside does not allow any kind of speech that they don't like. And if you don't believe me, just create an account, go on Pinside, and mention Kaneda's podcast in any kind of way. You'll get banned. Or mention anything bad about certain manufacturers. Now, it's kind of weird with Pinside. They'll have certain manufacturers are okay to bash on, but then if you were to bash on Spooky Pinball or one of these boutique manufacturers that they really like, then you're gonna, it just depends what mood the moderators are in, which is just unfortunate. And this led to several problems with pinball, mainly the failure of several boutique manufacturers, which are small companies that don't know anything about manufacturing, that sprung up to try to make pinball machines. They took people's money. The money disappeared. And during that whole process, if you said anything bad on Pinside about that company, they would take it down. They'd kick you out. And it led to a lot of people losing money in the long run. They don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. And Kaneda tells that kind of truth. And that's one of the reasons they don't like him. Another reason is, well, it's a little more complicated, but he kind of, you know, sometimes he goes off on tangents, and he'll call people out in the forum. And the main reason his podcast started was because they kicked him off the forum permanently. And I'm also kicked off the forum permanently for actually asking the question where the Hobbit was when that was happening. And they almost failed. So there's a lot of these boutique manufacturers. There's been 5 of them that have failed, I believe. It's Skitby Pinball, Zidware Pinball, Highway Pinball, and now Dutch Pinball. And I swear to God there was one more in there that we probably don't even remember. So, you know, there's a lot of money that could have been saved. You know, Kaneda did try to come back on the forum and whistleblow, and they shut down that, and they shut down a lot of other things, and that's what I was doing. They were bashing on Stern. I said, well, where the hell's the Hobbit? The Hobbit's 2 years late. You know, the Hobbit Pinball from Jersey Jack, which we later found out they almost went bankrupt as well. So, you know, there's a lot of problems with, you know, when you start getting closed-minded about things. Now, they're going to, you know, you can call me whatever kind of name you want, that's fine. But, you know, it's getting to the point where, you know, it's getting to start to affect, like, real-life stuff. You know, Kaneda, they've called his work, trying to get him fired. And Kaneda's gone off and retaliated by making a fake account, trolling one of the Pinsiders who's outspoken against him. You know, so it's not like there's any side that's completely, you know, innocent here. But the general collective of pinball is just not what it used to be, in my opinion. And it's unfortunate because, you know, I don't like seeing, you know, people picked on. I don't like seeing people ostracized just before their beliefs if they don't line up with yours. I believe in the freedom of speech. I don't believe in censorship. If someone says something stupid, they just look stupid. There's no reason that should be taken down. They can look stupid forever. So that's my opinion on the whole matter. I believe that there's you know, a lot of other things that we could get into in detail. Most of you don't even care about this, honestly, probably. But, you know, another reason I'm watching this pinball is because recently, in real life, they kicked out Kaneda from a pinball event. And he was getting drunk, which is not good. But they also had intentions of, you know, biased intentions to just find any reason to get rid of him. And, you know, it takes 2 to tango. I don't think that they should have gone to. I mean, basically, he got kicked out for cheering. Essentially, that's what he was saying, and his girlfriend was saying, his fiance. So, you know, I have yet to see any video of this. I appreciate anyone that knows contrary to that. Let me know. But he essentially was, you know, kicked out for cheering for somebody that was playing in a tournament. Now, if you watch these kind of tournaments, they're boring as hell. I'm just telling you right now. I love pinball, and I sort of understand what's going on. You know, I understand the rules and stuff, but to the average person, this is just boring. It's quiet. It's dull. If you look at the video I'm watching right now, there's nobody watching it. Just one guy playing. Now, Keith is awesome. This guy's good, but it's just, it needs to be livened up. It needs to be a no-holds-barred event. It needs to be more like the end of the Wizard movie, you know, and it needs excitement for everybody. And the big buck hunter people, they've got it figured out. You know, the people at Raw Thrills, they figured it out for those tournaments. Those are fun, exciting events that kind of go for everybody. But this mentality that pinball somehow should be treated like golf, or some sort of like thing where everyone's got to be quiet, and it's not pinball, if you ask me. Pinball came from the arcade. The arcades were loud, dirty, abrasive, so it's just not right, in my opinion. So, you know, that's my opinion. There's a whole contingent of these people that think that they own pinball, you know, that there's not anyone else that, if you don't believe what they believe, then you don't belong to be in pinball and all this sort of thing. It's like this closed community, and in reality, that's not true. A pinball is pinball, and from an operating perspective, pinball is kind of a not great venture to get in if you want to make money. I'm just telling you, the machines cost too much, they don't earn, and the people that do play them play for way too long. So as an operator, pinball is, you know, questionable. But, you know, I like it. I keep it around. You know, it entertains some people, you know, and I like entertaining as many people as possible. So, I don't know. This is my little rant about pinball and their absurd, like, Nazi-esque kind of censorship, and it's kind of getting out of hand. You know, real life banning and calling people, and, you know, I mean, I tease people on the internet. I'll be honest. You know, but it's never beyond that. I don't go to their house. I don't call them on the phone. I sure as hell don't call their work. You know, so when it starts getting to like, oh, you know, this guy shouldn't be allowed at the event or something like that. You know, if he's allowed drunk or something, that's a different story. I want to hear that story. Let me know. And I'd like to also know what your thoughts are on this matter. Do you even know what pinball is? Do you know what Papa is? Do you even know what the Pinside is? That's Pinside's a website, if I didn't tell you. And anything else you'd have to throw in this mix here. You hate Kaneda? You love Kaneda? Let me know. Anyway, there you go. That's my quick thoughts on this whole Kaneda versus pinball thing. And if you'd like to see more of these videos, give me a like down in this, you know, in the box down there, and subscribe. So there you go. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon or TeePublic.